All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are live with the ASAP Network. My name is Syed Galani, and this is my co-host for this evening, the wonderful Pride. How you doing, my brother?
Just another day, another dollar. I just want Aljamain Sterling to get beat up so bad.
He doesn't like Aljamain Sterling, ladies and gentlemen. He has a beef. He's got a beef with Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? But to be honest.
If we're gonna be honest,
if we're gonna be honest, if we're gonna we need to start off the first show of 2022 being honest and getting straight to the point. We don't want to beat around the bush here. We want to get right to the facts. But I've got my brilliant co-host here with me tonight, Pride. My name is Syed Galani, all the way from London. Wishing you lovely North Americans a lot of love from this side of the pond. And this is our first show of the year, the Throwing Hands combat sport show, which we're gonna have different hosts on with us, but tonight we've got the lovely Pride and yourself, Said, right here for you guys. So we're going to get right to it, man. First of all, though, Pride, I just want to ask you, Christmas, New Year just passed by. How was your festive period?
Say that one more time?
Sorry, I was just going to ask you really quickly before we begin. Christmas time just passed, New Year just passed. How was your festive period?
Oh, you're asking how my holidays were?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. It's just for some reason my speaker, it's weird. My PC doesn't have a speaker, so sometimes the stuff comes in and out. But in terms of the holiday, it was solid.
Nice.
I got drunk for Christmas, passed out, woke up to my children slapping me, and then I'm not gonna lie, I tried to run after them. They got away, so I was like, all right, fine. Then I got drunk again for New Year's, and then I woke up to my children again slapping me. So I think I'm going to have to cut back on my alcohol consumption because I'm getting too many bruises. And when I go and tell people it's my kids, they don't believe me. So I think I'm going to have to cut back on it because it just looks like I can't fight for nothing. So,
sounds like you got some future UFC contenders growing up.
If my daughter is going to be the next Amanda Nunes. She has no choice, no debate. And my son, I'm going to force him to be in the featherweight division. He'll be the second coming of Alexander Volkanovsky.
I love it.
There's no ifs or buts about it. Their future has been determined. They have no choice whatsoever.
I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, and my good co-host here, Pride, we're going to get stuck right in. And for the first show of 2022, we're keeping it light. We're keeping it just enjoyable. And we're just going to recap 2021, our favorite moments, our favorite fights, chaos, etc. And we're just going to run down what me and Pride really enjoyed about last year and what we want to see in 2022. So to start off with, we're going to talk about our sub of the year, our KO of the year, and our fight of the year for 2021. So straight away, Pride, I want to know what your opinion is. We're going to start off with the submission of the year. I want to ask you, what was your submission of the year and why?
So I was stuck between three, right? I was stuck between the two of them are more recent. Pena making Amanda Nunes tap. Because I'll be honest, I did not see that coming whatsoever. I was in the camp that thought Amanda Nunes was going to handle her business. And Pena did something weird. She stood and bang in the middle of the octagon with Amanda Nunes. Took every single shot, and gave stuff in return. It's very rare we see somebody get hit by a human being, but of the likes of an Amanda Nunes, get hit consistently. Yet somehow you keep your composure. Combine that with the fact that round one she got dominated, and she came out round two completely different, kind of like what Charles Oliveira did against Michael Chandler. Round one completely dominated. Looks ugly. You get up from your stool. You forget about what happened round one. You come out round 2, you make the proper adjustments, you end up getting the win. I gave that to her. Another one I gave it to Charles Oliveira, making Dustin Poirier tap. For me, the reason I had to put that there was not only did everybody believe Dustin Poirier was going to knock out Charles Oliveira, but Charles Oliveira did something that looks awkward to the human eye. He got a submission while basically climbing on Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Usually when you see submission artists, when you see guys who are phenomenal and working, one of the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioners in the history of the sport, and Royce Gracie, it was very rare that you saw him climb a guy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It was more him taking you, like clinching you, taking you down to the ground, and working it from there. And Charles Oliveira, what I like about him is just his versatility. He can make you tap for these weird angles that shouldn't be even possible. So
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I could not agree with you more, brother. And especially, sorry to cut you off there, but just because I agree with what you're saying 100%. Also, I just wanted to add to that the fact that both of those submissions you mentioned, they were in championship bouts.
Yes.
They were in main event championship bouts where the world title is on the line. Everybody's watching, and you pull off submissions, particularly Oliveira's. He's adjusting while he's on his back. He's adjusting his position, getting it even tighter, sinking it in even more. Come on, how has he even got the balls? I beg your pardon. Sorry for using strange language.
Be honest, that's true.
Yep. I mean, how is he able to do that in a championship level bout? So I completely agree with you there, and I'm on the same page, brother. Absolutely Oliveira versus Poirier, but I'd also put Pena in there because of how round 1 went, and then how the fight just transitioned and just completely went in Pena's favor. And yeah, it was phenomenal to see that. And I like what you said there in round 1. After round 1, sorry, when Pena made that decision, I'm gonna stand in the pocket here and I'm not gonna budge. So I'm gonna take your best shot and let's see if you can take mine. And she wasn't even that technical with her striking, but it was more just she brought that dog out in that moment where Amanda Nunes, in a way, looked kind of confused, like, oh my God, this girl is not budging. She's standing right in front of me and firing back. So it was really cool to see that, and just the heart displayed there from Pena. Phenomenal. So yeah, great picks there, brother. Phenomenal 2 picks.
And
there.
then I want to throw another one in there, another championship caliber fight.
Yep.
Brandon Moreno making Davison Figueiredo tap out.
Yeah.
To me,
impressive.
It was, because at the time we thought Davison Figueiredo was ruling the flyweight division. We didn't think anybody would ever do it. Brandon Moreno, the first fight, short notice, put up a hell of a fight. Then people said, if you give this kid, you give him 6 weeks, you give him 8 weeks, and he could beat Davison Figueiredo.
Yeah.
And the way he did it, I have yet to meet a person to say that Brandon Moreno beating Davison Figueiredo was a fluke, was luck. You can't say any of that. Because what he did was phenomenal. If I have to pick one, I'm going to go, I'm a little biased. I'm going to go Nunes versus Pena. First of all, because I love Amanda Nunes. If I could put her in any category, regardless if she's winning or losing, I'm going to put her there. But in terms of the odds, this was the biggest odds discrepancy in the history of combat sports.
Absolutely.
Juliana Pena, I think I was like a plus 3,000 at one point.
It's got to be one of the biggest upsets.
It's the biggest upset. In my opinion, it is the biggest upset. It definitely of this year, and is in a contention to be one of the biggest upsets in the history of MMA. Because again, Amanda Nunes is universally considered as the GOAT.
Yep.
And when she was doing what she did best, like you said it perfectly, when Pena was standing in there, Amanda almost looked confused. Because this is, and again, if I'm wrong, please check me, but this is the first time I've ever seen anybody, any female on this planet, stand in the middle of the octagon with Amanda Nunes, get hit, and hit back, and look comfortable while that was happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I agree with you. I agree with you a lot there. I like your points there. Very interesting points you bring up, right? So let's just move on now to the KO of the year, and I'm just going to start off this time straight away off the cusp. You probably know what's coming. Usman Masvidal. That KO again because it's in a championship bout where everybody's paying attention. The pressure is on. And Usman, the way he's developed his style from being a wrestler and just outpointing people to now improving his striking, really having that jab and opening a combo up and being able to land that flush cross the way he did, the jab, the hook with the same hand, and then that power cross down the pipe. Masvidal did not expect that kind of setup. He did not expect that from a wrestler. So for me, that was a very special knockout, and I put that right up there, Pride.
Yes, 100%. I put that one up there. Again, this is a guy who's a wrestler, and we also we got to put context. When Jorge Masvidal took this fight against Kamaru Usman the first time on short notice, Masvidal knew he lost.
Yep.
But he's sitting on the end of the octagon in his corner, and Dana White is coming into the octagon with the belt, and Masvidal is looking at Dana, says, "Give me him. You give me 6 weeks, I'm beating him. I want this fight again. Give me 6 weeks."
Yeah.
He was telling Dana he wanted it. He got it and got put down bad. Right. Another one I'm gonna bring up. And this is gonna sound like I'm a Charles Oliveira fan, but when he knocked out Michael Chandler,
how could you not include that? How could you not include that?
Because this is Charles Oliveira, who's not a knockout artist,
exactly,
coming out and knocking out a Michael Chandler, who, when he was imported into the UFC, was immediately pushed as the chosen one, as the prodigal son.
Yes.
He was the uncrowned lightweight champion.
Yep.
And Charles Oliveira knocked him out.
And the way the way Oliveira survived round number 1 as well, after getting knocked down so ferociously. I thought he was seconds away from getting knocked out, but those black skills, survival, he rolled onto his back, he used his legs to create a little bit of space. And he just had that little bit of room he needed to survive for round number 2. So I completely agree with you there. He's improved his striking a lot, hasn't he, over the years?
Phenomenally. And I think a lot of that comes to do with confidence. Yeah. Because now he's more confident in himself. And to your point, if Chandler he hit because I'm one of the people. If Chandler, I think it was a straight right, if I'm not mistaken, that put him down. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but if he does that 10 seconds earlier, the fight's over. Mm-hmm. I don't even think that's a debate. I think the fight's over. Yeah, and unfortunately, he caught him too late, gave him time to recover, and Oliveira made the proper adjustments. Came out. Another one I gotta mention, and if I have to give my vote, it's going to this one.
Please do.
Yuri Prochazka. Knocking out Dominic Reyes.
Oh, with that elbow.
Spinning back elbow. Oh, my God. Listen, look here, man. I watched it live. Okay.
Yeah.
I watched it live. And when I saw it, I literally, my fiance almost hit me because I accidentally woke her up. Yeah. I was screaming. I was like, whoa. Like, it was just wild. And then Dominic Reyes immediately getting stiff. But I was like, you know what? I was like, God, if I have to vote, I'm going to give it to that one. But
you know what, Pride? Once you just brought that knockout up, which I knew about, but I kind of overlooked it a little bit. And now that you've brought it back, you just brought that back in my mind. And I swear I'm just reliving that moment where he landed that spinning back. Honestly, that was a beautiful knockout. I definitely put that up there because how unpredictable it was, and it was out of nowhere. It just makes him such a scary force in light heavyweight. Like, no one really wants to fight him. He's getting his opportunity, obviously, now to fight Glover. Well deserved, in my opinion. But no one really wants to fight him.
Nah, the Glover don't want that smoke. And I love Glover Teixeira. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
I love him. He don't want that smoke.
No.
I said this as a joke. I believe Jan Blachowicz tapped fast to Glover Teixeira so he can duck Yuri. I am convinced that he was like, you know what? It was a good run. I'm not getting knocked out by Yuri Prochazka. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to be sent into retirement. I'm going to tap and let Glover deal with him. And
Well,
then
you know
if Yuri
what?
loses, I might try. But until
Yeah.
then, no, I don't want none of that.
Well, you know what, Pride? It's funny you said that because it was kind of unusual how quickly he kind of tapped out. He kind of gave up. He gave up.
Yeah.
Normally, he is not a guy to give up. It's almost like he just thought, you know what, no mas for now, and I'm gonna come back in a later date.
Yeah, it was so bizarre because I'm watching it, and at the time I didn't think Glover Teixeira had it. Like, I didn't think he had it all the way. And then when Jan Blachowicz flattened out, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're giving up your back to Glover Teixeira. And on top of that, you're not going to flatten out. Like, you might as well just tap already, my guy.
You might as well just tap. Yeah, you might as well just kneel down and tap on the cage. Like,
yeah, it was so bizarre. And I don't want to say he quit. I don't want to say that because, again, like you said, that's not a Jan Blachowicz.
That's not normal.
That's not his
normal
MMO.
No,
right. That's not him. He doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't just go and tap. This isn't Bob Sapp, right? Who tried to cash it in and would tap to strikes when he would just get sneezed at. Like, Jan Blachowicz, he's been through adversity, so it's weird that I saw that. To me, it's almost as if he was like, I need a break from fighting.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't make sense because now he immediately took another fight. Who was it? I think it's Rarick. Did he take that fight? Who is he fighting?
Oh, I need to check. He's fighting soon as well. Oh,
yeah,
I should really know that.
Yeah, I think it was Alexander Rarick. I think. I know he's fighting again, and if I'm not mistaken, he's headlining a fight night.
Yeah, he is. I've seen that. I've actually seen that.
I'm just confused. Like, matter of fact, let me look it up because I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, you're actually right. I just got it up right now. It's going to be on a fight night, and it's going to be Alexander Rakic. He's going to fight.
Yes, Rakic. Yeah,
March the 26th.
Yes, yep. Yeah, and I saw that, and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, completely agree with you.
Yeah. It's perplexing. It's perplexing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to say the least. And so, just to finish off the first little bullet point here, the fight of the year now. So, what, in your opinion, was the fight of the year for me now? Just to throw it out, Gaethje versus Chandler for me because of just the destruction levels. I had both men just coming out, and they're literally. I know it wasn't the most technical fight in the world. Gaethje's obviously punching is really technical. He likes to set up his combos with the jab, and he likes to use that hook. But at the same time, I just thought both men were just like, it's an unwritten agreement. We're gonna meet in the center, and we're gonna throw down. And the amount of electricity in that arena, I don't know if it's because it was one of the first events with a full crowd back, but it felt like that arena was literally electric. You know, like, and I'm sitting all the way in London watching it on a TV. You know, and I swear, to me, it just felt, and just every punch, every blow they landed, because obviously both men are blockbuster main event fighters, you know, and just for me, that was just the best fight of the year for me. Like, I just, honestly, and there was many good fights of the year. Obviously, you'll probably come in and correct me. There's many good fights. Obviously, like, people like Rodriguez had a phenomenal fight against Max Holloway, you know, and there was lots of really good 5-rounders on top of my head. I can't really remember. But what really stands out for me as just fight of the year, and maybe because it's quite recent, is Gaethje Chandler. So I don't know what you think about that, and I'd love to hear your opinions on fight of the year.
I absolutely loved it. And as I said, I have no problem with you picking that. That fight needs to be at the bare minimum in consideration.
Yeah.
Think about this. They opened the pay-per-view. This is a main event caliber fight.
Yeah.
And it opened the pay-per-view. That, like, to me, that as soon as I found out that thing was gonna open the pay-per-view, I was like, oh yeah, 260 is gonna be a banger.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be. As soon as I found out it was Usman coming to 2, I was like, it's gonna be a good one.
Oh.
And then I found out Wei Lee and Rose Namajunas was gonna be on that card.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is nice. Then I found out it was Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. I was like, look, man. I'm like, yo, stop drilling. You struck oil. Take my money. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's a done deal, man. Done deal.
You know
Done
what
deal.
I mean? For me, I like that one. One I love a lot. Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega.
Oh, brilliant fight.
That third round,
Yeah.
by far, was the greatest round of 2021. And I've seen people tell me it is the greatest round in the history of the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, you see the skill level, the heart both men displayed, honestly, and at that round of a fight as well. You're in the third round, you're reaching the championship rounds now, and both men, the way they're bringing it, I mean, I agree 100%. And I got really impressed. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, please continue.
Like, just see Ortega's heart.
Yes.
Oh my God, man. Come on.
You can listen. One thing I would never knock about Brian Ortega, his face could be destroyed and he can have a broken neck, shattered rib. If his legs work, he's walking out there.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Brian Ortega I'll never take from him. He had 2 deep submissions on Alexander Volkanovsky, and he didn't tap.
Yeah.
And a normal fighter would have come out round 4 and just looked defeated a bit. Though, I can't do this anymore. What else can I do? Brian Ortega came out and said, I still got to keep going. I can't stop. Like, I got to keep going. I need to make sure I get this win one way or another. And he tried. And I thought a lot of guys would have thrown in the towel way before that. And for him to hit, I was very impressed. I did like that, but I'll be honest, man. To me, the front runner has to be like the one you said, Gaethje versus Chandler. It's gotta be the front runner. Mm-hmm. It has to be, because again, it was exciting. It kept my entertainment. There were so many moments that made people go, whoa, and stand up. And the thing is I've seen people say that fight was better than Usman versus Covington, and that was the main event. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. So, it was a much better fight. But Usman's, I beg your pardon, and Covington too. Obviously, both fights they had were phenomenal fights. So just segueing into our next question there. It's the fights that we would like to see in 2022. So I just want to start with you this time. I want you to give me, it can be more than one, but let's just keep it a couple. What fights do you really want to see this year?
So I'm gonna name 3. Whoever wins between Davidson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, I think it's time that we see Kai Kara-France get an opportunity to prove whether or not he can really hang with the big boys. I believe he can. So my first one, I'm going to throw out Kai Kara-France. I believe he should be the next one in contention for the title.
Definitely. After that last performance against Cody Garbrandt, come on. He's ready. He's ready to be a contender. Yep.
Yes, 100%. Another fight, the one I really wanted to watch, and we're lucky we're going to get it, Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane. I definitely want to see that. This might be a reach. And Said, I want you to let me know if I'm crazy, if I'm out of my mind. I was talking earlier today with Jay about this. What do you think about Michael Chandler? Because he's had his opportunity at lightweight. It's not working. What do you think about him moving up to welterweight?
Ooh.
And seeing, because Usman basically cleared out the division.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Because I believe Michael Chandler, if he moves up to welterweight and he beats a Leon Edwards, Vicente Luque, even a Jorge Masvidal, if he beats any one of those guys, I can actually see a world, I really can, where his next fight would be for the title against Usman. Am I weird for thinking that?
I mean, to be honest with you, he definitely has the frame where he could go to 170. Absolutely. He's got the frame, maybe not the height, but I mean, he's got the frame, he's got the power, he's
Right.
got the build absolutely to fight a welterweight. Absolutely, I think he could. And I think some of the guys at welterweight are a little bit slower than the guys at 155 that he's dealing with. And
Right.
yeah, it's very interesting, to be honest. It's very
Yeah.
interesting if he was to go up to welterweight. I don't know for sure, obviously, but I think in the top 10, Michael Chandler could handle himself with quite a few of those guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. It'd be a 50-50 fight for quite a lot of top 10 guys in welterweight.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah, I like that you brought that up because it's a bit out there, but it's
It is-
not
don't
out
get
of the realms of possibility.
Yeah, because and the reason I'm saying that is because Michael Chandler, he lost against Justin Gaethje, he lost to Dustin Poirier, and he lost to Dustin, right?
Yeah, he's lost.
Yeah. Because it was him and Dustin was to fight because Dustin beat him to go, to end up facing
Oliveira.
I'm drawing a blank. Oliveira. So it's to me, I'm looking at it, and I think it's possible, especially considering the way things are going with him in lightweight. It doesn't look like it's working out. You just put him in welterweight, give him one win. They're desperate for a guy a fresh face to step up anyway. If you put Michael Chandler, I think it's a possibility. And then another fight.
I mean, I'd love to see him. Sorry to cut you off, but I'd love to see Chandler fighting Covington. I think that'd be an amazing fight. Two wrestlers coming out there, and they've both got good striking as well. And Chandler's got that knockout power. I mean, I think that'd be a really good fight. I'd love to see that.
No, that would be a great fight. Another fight I want to see. I think it's time for the trilogy: Valentina Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes. I think this would be Valentina's best chance to be able to capitalize to get the win.
Yep.
I still got Amanda Nunes. She's my GOAT. But
what weight would you do it at, Pride?
Ooh, that right there is going to be interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I think Valentina Shevchenko had a drop. I think.
Yeah, because she's the 25 champion, isn't she?
Say again?
Because she's the champ at 25, isn't she? She's still got the belt.
Yes. She's got the featherweight belt.
Yep.
But we also have to remember, like, I believe she can make flyweight.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she can.
Yeah, she's small enough. I think she could too.
Right.
I agree.
So I believe she'll be able to be able to hop on up there. It'll be very interesting. But I think they're gonna have to do a title versus title thing.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, that would be the right way to market it. Also for women's MMA.
You know what I mean?
It'd be a great way to market it.
Yeah, Amanda, she's the featherweight champ. Problem is, how because last time, if I'm not mistaken, I think Valentina Shevchenko, she had a cut weight and she really wasn't with it. So now she's like, look, you need to come up and meet me at my weight. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. I think Amanda does go up. If she goes up, I think she becomes the women's flyweight champion. I think she's a double champ, but I don't think she'll keep it for long, considering it's featherweight, bantamweight, then flyweight. There's a whole nother, weight division in between. Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of longevity, I think if she were to do this, she'll do what it'll be kind of what Daniel Cormier did, right?
Yeah.
When he was the heavyweight champ and he fought for the lightweight title and he held them both and in essence just kind of switched, right? It was the heavyweight title he had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Say that again. Sorry. DC.
DC, when he was the double champ, the first title he had was the heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
So I think this will be the same thing where Amanda's the featherweight champion. She goes up to flyweight, beats Valentina Shevchenko, but then relinquishes, you know what I mean? She'll have it for a couple months, then she'll relinquish the featherweight title. So in essence, she's kind of just switching them out. Because again, going from featherweight to bantamweight, that's one thing. Going to featherweight and flyweight back and forth like that, I think that'll be too taxing to go up 2 full weight classes for a longevity point. But if I'm Valentina Shevchenko, I take this.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that one. But the one I wanted to throw out there, and I just want to know your opinion on it. I
Let me hear it.
really, really, really want to see McGregor Diaz 3. I want to see it. I need to see it. The time is now. McGregor's ready. He's on a downslide. Nate Diaz at the end of his career. He's got a couple of fights left. I mean, he wants to fight Poirier. Obviously, in short notice, they might do something soon. We don't know for sure yet. But this year, at some point, we need to see the rubber match between McGregor and Diaz. Come on. What do you think, Pride?
I think so. Because if you think about it, it doesn't matter in terms of like there's no championship aspiration, so it'll be a money fight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're both great talkers, so it'll still sell.
Absolutely.
People are still begging for the trilogy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm with you. Let's run it back. Let's do a third. They're tied up. Let's have one person end up, having the 2-1 advantage. Because Conor, the only way I don't do it is if I'm Conor, he needs to fight if he wants to go back to the belt. I don't think he's ever going to get there again. But he needs to fight a guy like Islam Makhachev, maybe Michael Chandler, perhaps Dustin Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna need a win. Like he's gonna need a win there, and then he's gonna need another win. Whoever was the number one seeded guy, like the number one contender.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that be Justin Gaethje based on how things are now, or if Justin Gaethje beats Charles Oliveira and then it's Charles, he's gonna need at least 2 wins before he can go and say, I should be in the championship picture.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So it's
if
like
he wants to get yeah.
With all that, would he really want to do all that stuff when you can just fight Nate Diaz?
Yep.
And
exactly.
you could have that be a main event because they're still big popular names.
Huge.
So you know what I mean? So I mean, if I'm Conor, I take that fight. I take that fight, especially if you can have it as like a comeback fight. Like you said, Nate Diaz, he's on the back end of his career. Conor comes in, handles his business. Then maybe you can say, see, look, I'm back. Whatever. Now he goes up, maybe. Who knows? But if I'm Conor, I'm not taking a ranked guy my first fight back.
Yeah. No.
Because again, I need to make sure I'm still good enough to be able to hang with a UFC fighter, period. A guy like Nate Diaz with bad blood, money's there. I'm with you. I would love to see that fight.
Yeah, and it's good business for the UFC as well. It's going to do pay-per-views. It's going to make money. It's going to do over... I mean, the first fight they had, I think it done 1.3 million, and the second one done a little bit less. So I'm sure it's going to do close to that again because obviously the Diaz brothers have got a cult-like following. And
yes,
Conor McGregor has got a global fan base that everybody loves him no matter what he does, Right. I just think it's a phenomenal fight. I love the way you broke that down. If he wants to go for a title aspirations again, then he's going to have to fight those guys. Like you mentioned, he's going to have to get a win against a Chandler, against a Gaethje, against an Islam Makhachev. But if he doesn't want to do that and he wants a good comeback fight that's guaranteed good money and guaranteed pay-per-views and business, Nate Diaz is calling. He's standing there waving at him. How you doing, Conor? He's here. Mm-hmm. He's got his hand up. You know what I mean? He's ready to go.
And that's one of those rivalries. That's one of those rivalries that the groundwork, there's no groundwork to lay. It's always going to be there. Kind of like with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. They never really had to try to get the groundwork started because it was just naturally there. Back when they were boys and Dana White was their manager, the groundwork was laying down there. So they never really had to try to look for a reason to fight or nothing, It just kind of just, boom, we have some beef, whatever. We're in 2 names that are always, around each other. So that's how I look at it. So, yeah, that fight, I would enjoy that.
Yeah, and I liked your pick for what fight you want to see next year, this year as well. I like that, the Nunes and Shevchenko trilogy. So, yeah, let's move on to the next one now. And I just want to recap with you. So, your most enjoyable fight of 2021. And obviously, it's similar to KOs and submissions, etc. But this is more on a personal level. a fight that you really, really enjoyed to watch. And I'll give you my example just to start off with. I really enjoyed, because I'm a massive Max Holloway fan. I love watching him fight. I think he's an incredible martial artist. I think he's a great human being. And I just think every time he steps into the octagon, he really puts it all on the line, and he's an amazing fighter. So Max Holloway versus Yaya Rodriguez for me was a really enjoyable fight for last year, because I got to see a phenomenal 5-round war, and I got to see Max Holloway win at the end of it against a really tough opponent. So it was a great night for me, and I made some money too. So
Whenever you can make money, that's always a great night.
yeah. So what about you?
For me, I'm gonna go with Francis Ngannou knocking out Stipe.
Oh yeah.
It was, I enjoyed it on multiple different levels. First and foremost, nobody thought that he would be able to hang with Stipe. And I thought, look, man, I think he can. I think he will. And I called it. I called what was going to happen the instant before it even happened. I called out exactly what was going to happen. They're going to try to fill each other out. Ngannou's going to hit Stipe with a couple jabs. Stipe is going to be like, you know what? I got to take this to the ground. He's going to go for a takedown. And I said Francis was going to stuff it. And then after that, Stipe was going to feel uncomfortable. And I called it round 2, he was going to get knocked out. And lo and behold, that's what happened. The worst thing that happened for Stipe was when he first got rocked and he kind of came and he threw I think he threw like a hook or something. And it kind of made, it put, I don't want to say put Ngannou out, but he felt it. He felt it, and then he came with that short left hook that put Stipe down.
Yeah,
I loved it. Again, I was pulling for Francis Ngannou through and through and through, and for him to finally do it, especially after it wasn't easy for him to get here. And I'm not even talking about him running from his home. I'm not even talking about that. Just the fact that his first opportunity, he looked scared and timid.
Yeah.
And he learned, he evolved as a fighter. He
evolved so much.
Yes, he went to Kamaru Usman, said, yo, what do I do? They started practicing patience. And that's what put Ngannou over the top. Because there were a couple times where you could see that he saw that he made Stipe get hurt, but he never forced it. He was like chilling, relaxing. I'm gonna pick my part. I'm gonna pick my opportunities and go from there. So for me, Ngannou, Stipe, that for me, that was my most enjoyable fight.
The version of Ngannou that fought Stipe the first time is night and day different from Ngannou now, isn't it? He's improved so much. His takedown defense now is incredible. I mean, no one can get him down. Who's going to get him down on the ground now?
It's going to be it's one of those things where in order to take him down, now you have to wait in the championship rounds, right? Like you're going to need to do some damage and have him tire himself out and then go for the takedown. But now here's the thing. Can people do that? You know what I mean? Like, can you be able to wait out that storm and put him in an awkward position where you can get that takedown? And on top of that, if you take him down, now that he's comfortable, for all we know, if you take him down, he might be able to throw you off and get up himself.
He's a big boy.
You know what I mean? So now it's a case of if I take him down, now I have to do something while I'm down here. I can't just rest. Now I need to be a guy. Spoiler alert. I don't know if I'll be here for it, but I was throwing it out there. I think Cyril Gane's going to beat Francis Ngannou. But you're going to need to be in the position where you have him down. Now I need to work on submissions. I need to keep pushing, and I need to keep going and going, because if I don't, I'm just giving him an opportunity to not only catch his breath back, but for him to just wake up, to just get up and just throw me. I'm not chancing it. So, Ngannou, he's come long, he's come far. I'm glad he's able to be the champ. Let's see where he goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, when he fought after he fought Derek Lewis, what is it? 5 fights, knockouts, 4 in the first round.
Yes,
1 in the second, all knockouts. I mean, that's scary. That is scary. I mean, who's gonna come a heavyweight to challenge this guy? I mean, let me ask you. Obviously, he's fighting Cyril Gane, and I know you said you feel Cyril will win. I feel Cyril has a huge opportunity to win this fight just because of his kickboxing background, how fluid he is on his feet, how light he is. I mean, the way he's in and out, and he completely dissected Derek Lewis and completely made him confused, made him out of depth completely. You know, Derek didn't have a clue what to do, to be honest.
Correct.
You know,
And
yeah.
And just real quick, I'm going to explain why I believe Cyril Gane will win.
Yeah, please do.
Cyril Gane has the power of a Derek Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
He's light on his feet, like a Brandon Moreno. He's got the submission ability of a Jose Aldo. It's got the IQ of, let's say, who's one of the smartest fighters in the history of the game? I'll go Hoyt. I'll go. He's got the IQ of a Hoyt.
Yeah.
And the composure of a Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
The things
Definitely.
he does should not be physically possible in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and for someone with that lack of fights, you know, like he's not that experienced in MMA.
No, but you could have fooled me. Because if you just watch any of his UFC fights, he almost seems like a seasoned vet. He almost looks like he's put just as much time in this as a Glover Teixeira, like a Jose Aldo, a Frankie Edgar. Like the way he fights, it's just so composed, and it's very bizarre and almost uncomfortable how composed he is. Considering that in the MMA world, he hasn't had that many fights.
Well, it's funny you said that. It's funny you said that about how comfortable, because see, when he fought Derek Lewis in Houston, Derek Lewis looked like he was worried at how calm and how collected Cyril Gane is.
Yep.
You know, and there was a lot of reverse psychology going on there, because when Cyril Gane came to the cage, he played Houston rap. Like he was playing Houston rap artists when he's coming out to the cage.
Right.
And it actually confused a lot of the crowd. They thought Derek Lewis was coming out to the cage. And yeah, so I don't know if that played on Derek's mind, but Cyril Gane, he's definitely a smart, composed man. Definitely. And I completely agree with you. He's like a Kamaru Usman in terms of how cool and calm and collected he is in there. Completely agree with you. Love that. What do you think about their beef? Like the history, you know, they've got a bit of history there. There's some sparring videos of Cyril Gane getting the better of Ngannou. They used to be in the same camp. So it's a really interesting fight.
It is. It's all really gonna come down to what Cyril Gane we get, because the Cyril Gane I need to see is a dynamic Cyril Gane. I need him to come out, throw a couple combos, do a quick takedown, keep Francis Ngannou off balance.
Yeah.
If you can keep him off balance, the world is so much more open, because now, when calm Francis, it's scary, yes, but it's also scary when calm Francis turns into timid Francis or panic Francis, where like he looks completely different.
Yeah.
And I think Cyril Gane right now has every advantage. I think the only advantage he doesn't have is the power advantage. I think the power advantage, no matter who Stipe fights, he could go fight a building and he somehow will have the power advantage. So I think outside of that, Cyril Gane has the advantage. He needs to keep him off balance, tempo, angles. He needs to work all of it. And he needs to fight a well-rounded game where, let's say, come round 3, when Francis gets up from his bench, the refs should be scrambling. Not his refs, his corner. They should be scrambling for stuff to tell him. And you're going to hear, round 3, you're going to hear a lot of random stuff. If it gets that deep, you're going to hear random stuff coming from his corner, because Cyril Gane's going to come out with such a dynamic game that I think he just won't be beatable on that night.
And it's surprising. The UFC, they're not really promoting the fight that much, which is a little bit bizarre to me. Why they've not really. It's a heavyweight title fight. Both men from France, both men from used to be in the same camp. There's a built-in rivalry, built-in storyline. Come on, where's the promotion?
I think they're gonna start promoting it like by next. I'd say by next Wednesday they're gonna start really promoting it.
I hope
Because remember, you gotta remember what like when it was made official, like it was made official. But you gotta remember, like the talks of it was around the time of Usman versus Covington.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype on that. Then after that, Amanda Nunes came with Juliana Pena. That took some hype. On top of Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje opening it up. Rose Namajunas, Jane Wood. So I just think that towards the end of the year, there was just so many fights that the UFC was like, look, we need to focus on these. Then next year, we can promote the holy mess out of Ngannou Gant.
Yeah.
So that's what I think happened. If by next Monday we see no promotion, I'm going to be confused.
Yeah.
I will be very confused.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And the way you broke that down there, it's so true. We've been spoiled for fights in 2021. We've been spoiled for great matches, 50-50 fights. The amount of upsets we've seen in 2021, it's incredible. You know, how much MMA has surpassed boxing, in my opinion, in terms of value, and fight cards that are worth the fans' time. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So on to the next one, brother. And this is the top stories of 2021. So it can be anything you think, anything you want to talk about. But for me, the biggest story of 2021 was the return of the Stockton bad boy, Nick Diaz. Now, you could probably tell by now I'm a Diaz Bros fan, but but at the same time, for me, Nick Diaz coming back after 6 years, it was a massive storyline in the world of MMA, you know, because he's such a cult-like hero. He has diehard fans that desperately want to watch him fight. And then all of a sudden, he's back. It was announced he's going to rematch Robbie Lawler, which was a great matchup in my opinion. But the only issue I had with it was Robbie Lawler's been a little bit more active than, you know, he's fought a couple of times a year, etc. Nick's been out for 6 years. And then he came out and he performed like that. They met in the middle and just had a phone booth war. I mean, and even though Nick lost, he couldn't continue after the third round. I was really impressed. Am I just a crazy Diaz fan, or were you impressed by what he showed us in his return?
Coming off of 6, like you said, 6 years, the fact that he made it by a round, I'm not even gonna knock him. I was very intrigued when Nick Diaz, when it was announced. At first, I thought it was fake. Because for the past couple years, it was like, oh yeah, Nick Diaz, he's coming back. He's gonna fight. He's gonna fight Anderson Silva. Be careful. We're gonna get him, and we're gonna go bring BJ Penn out of retirement. They're gonna fight. It was always a whole bunch of stuff. So to see him finally in the octagon, I was excited. I really was.
I've just seen his career. I've seen his career all the way from the beginning. I remember watching him and Lawler fight live. I was a little child.
Yes.
Back when they fought, I can't remember the exact year, but I mean, I was a little child when I watched that. And I remember watching it live, and Nick Diaz, he's like that brash figure. He just does not care. And the way he got that knockout, I mean, there's a story I've heard from Yves Levine, not personally, but I've heard it in an interview, where Yves Levine was actually in the same changing room as Nick Diaz that night. And Nick Diaz was walking around like he was walking around with a swagger. He was like, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock him out. And everybody in the changing room was like, right. Who's this kid? He's going to get knocked out. And then he went out and ended up knocking out Robbie Lawler. And as you'll know, Pride, because you know your stuff clearly, at that time, Robbie Lawler was a prospect that the UFC was really trying to build up as their next big thing. And Nick wasn't. They weren't building Nick the same way. They were doing Nick how they're doing Nate, how they've done Nate his whole career, where it's like, oh yeah, he's nice, but he's not a needle mover. Yeah, that's how they treated both those brothers. Like, listen, they're hell of a guys, but they're not needle movers. They're not box office, which I don't understand why. Yeah. How can they not be box office? So yeah, I want to ask you, what was your top story of 2021? And it can be anything. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a fight or one fighter, just a MMA story, or even a boxing and MMA story with Jake Paul or whatever. Literally,
So,
in your opinion, what was the top story that intrigued you in 2021?
one day you're gonna hear my whole Jake Paul rant. I'm telling people this right now. Eventually, when boxing dies, people are gonna say what happened, and I'm gonna say it stemmed when people had the nerve to sit there and tell me with a straight face that Jake Paul was a legit boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
So do with that information as you will. Now, for me, and people get mad at me all the time for saying this, but I wholeheartedly believe this. The biggest story for me was John Jones being number one, and we got a comment saying boxing is already dead. It's getting there, brother. It's getting there. Now we still got guys out there like Shakur Stevenson, maybe even Tank Dempsey.
Tank
We're looking
Davis,
at guys.
we've got some welterweight guys. You know, we've got Errol Spence, we've got
Errol Spence,
Crawford,
Jamal Herring, which I think we do have
Tyson
some guys.
Fury.
I don't think obviously Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. I think Andy Ruiz will make a comeback, but I will say it's rough. It's rough, but John Jones has not fought since February 8th of 2020, and somehow was number one in the pound for pound rankings for a while.
Yeah,
and now is currently sixth. I've never in my life seen something like this where a guy just doesn't fight, is always getting in trouble to the point where that's why he's not fighting because of the mistakes he's making. It's not like John Jones was slated to fight. It's not like he was slated to fight Alexander Gustav or Gustafsson, and he got hurt and he had to pull out and no one would step up. Right? It's not like a Dominic Reyes situation where he tore his not Dominic Reyes, Dominic Cruz, where he tore one ACL and then he got surgery, the cadaver got rejected, then he got rehurt again. It's not like that.
No.
It's just John Jones makes the dumbest decisions ever.
Yeah.
And now he is right now as we speak is ranked sixth.
And
he is ranked above guys like Petr Yan, Glover Teixeira, Robert Whitaker, Dustin Poirier, Stipe Miocic, and Max Holloway.
Yeah, and these are all guys who are active. They're not getting in trouble. They're doing what they should be doing. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so my thing is, and I'm not saying that his outside, his outside life needs to affect his rankings. What I'm saying is when your outside life is starting to interfere with your professional life, that's when you got to make a stand because, again, Dustin Poirier has fought more. Cyril God has fought more than John Jones. How is he 15th? He's an easy interim champ. How is he 15th? You know what I mean? Robert Whitaker, in the middleweight division, he dominates everybody outside of Israel Adesanya. That's basically his kryptonite. He's at 13th. You know what I mean? Jan Blachowicz was the lightweight champ for a while. He's at 14th. The guy who beat him, Glover Teixeira, is 12th.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all this stuff. Brandon Moreno, he made Davison Figueiredo, who's one of the greatest flyweights of all time, he made him tap. He's 10th. So for me, that was my biggest thing. John Jones being one for a while and still being in the top 15 pound for pound rank. I don't know, Uncle Dana. You got to get it together.
No, I hear what you're saying 100% because he is amazing. He is the greatest champion of all time in the UFC. He has to be. However, how long are we going to let people get away with stuff like that and still include them, at the highest level? We can't just keep letting them get away with that stuff and still include them while all these other fighters are doing what they should be doing, not getting in trouble, not getting arrested. They're serious, they're contenders. They are competing regularly. John Jones just isn't competing regularly. He just isn't. He's fighting once a blue moon.
The last time he fought was February 8th of 2020, and that was when he beat Dominic Reyes.
Dominic Reyes, yep.
Since then, do you know how many times he's fought? Oh, I'll tell you, 0. And he's had multiple fights. He had a DC rematch in the works. He had a Dominic Reyes rematch in the works.
Ngannou. There was Ngannou talks.
Yeah, Ngannou talk. Not only that, but then when he wanted to move up to heavyweight, Ngannou, Stipe. There was a Stipe thing going on. Derek Lewis. Like, there were a lot of guys that he could have fought, and he just never showed up.
Yeah.
So,
the money problems, yeah, he wants a lot of money. He wants to be paid the same way NBA athletes are paid. It's just crazy. He needs to make sure he's not getting arrested first. Come on, stop getting in trouble, bro.
Yeah, show up to work before you ask for a raise.
Exactly. And the thing is, I agree with what you're saying, and I'm probably one of the biggest John Jones fans you'll ever meet. Honestly, I absolutely love John Jones. I think he is. I genuinely feel we're not going to have another champion like him anytime soon. How dominant he's been, the amount of years he's held the title since he was 23 years old. You know, back in 2009, was it, or 10? No, 11. Sorry, 2011 when he beat Shogun Rua, right? I believe somewhere around that ballpark. And he has dominated everybody since. Finished legends upon legends upon legends. And yeah, his last few fights.
Rashad Evans, Zoto Machida, Chael Sonnen, like.
It goes on and on and on and on the list. And yeah, his last couple of fights, he wasn't that impressive. But I don't know. I don't know if you agree with this, Pride, but this is just my opinion on John Jones. I think he knows he's maybe at the end, and there's guys who are coming through who could beat him now. So he's looking for excuses to not fight that often. It's just what I feel from it. I might be completely wrong, but...
And here's the thing, like you said, let's be real. When you have a guy like John Jones, who, let's be honest, his professional record, he got 26 wins, only 1 loss, and that loss against Matt Hamill was a stupid DQ. Which everyone was saying, basically they market him as undefeated because they should. I don't know. I don't agree with that, but I understand the point.
Yeah.
When you think about it, when your only loss is justifiable and everyone's saying it doesn't, it really didn't count. When you see that, that makes you start thinking I'm amazing. And like you said, when you start seeing other people start to get better, let's be honest.
You mentioned Jiri Joaska. What's his name? Yuri, sorry. Yuri
Prochazka. Do you think he wants that smoke?
I don't think he wants that. I don't think he wants that.
You know what I mean? So that's just one dude. You know what I mean? On top of that, you also got youngsters that are climbing up. Never mind the fact that him moving up to heavyweight. Yeah, sure, they're a little older. But again, Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades.
Ooh, Cyril Gane versus John Jones. Oh my days. That was a phenomenal fight.
I think Gane beats him easily.
Yeah, because he's more comfortable at heavyweight. He's comfortable at that weight, you know.
Which is what I'm saying. Like, that matters too. Like, and
he's quicker than John Jones. He's quicker than John Jones, and he's bigger than him.
People make the mistake that think that everyone who moves weight classes is gonna be like BJ Penn.
Yeah.
Like, BJ Penn was successful in every division, but let's not act like that's the norm. That's the outlier. The normal result is Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah.
When you switch, you switch weight classes, all of a sudden you're getting knocked out. So,
yeah, completely agree with that. I completely agree with that, man. Yeah, it's such a shame with John Jones' career. You know, it's been a travesty. He could have been a LeBron James of MMA. You know, and he was at some point. Remember, he used to have Nike sponsorships, Gatorade. He had all the sponsorships under the sun, but he threw it all away. It's so sad to see that. You know, it's really, really sad to see that. But Pride, it's been absolutely amazing having you co-hosting with me. On Throwing Hands. That's us reached the end of our hour. It's been amazing talking to you. You've brought a lot of really brilliant points up.
So have you. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. And we will see you guys next Thursday. This is the Throwing Hands podcast, and we're on the ASAP network, ladies and gentlemen. I am Saeed Galani over here from London signing out. This is my amazing co-host Pride. Whereabout are you in America?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, right? So he's over there in South Carolina. I'm here in London, ladies and gentlemen, and we are signing out, and we will see you next time. See you next Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.